Howdy folks, it's been a while, so sorry about that, but I'm back. Long story short, I haven't been well for a while. I had an operation and I'm all better now, so let's just get on with this video. Here I've got some colour copy paper. It looks super exciting, doesn't it? But I bought this to use with my markers because I heard it would be good, so let's give it a go. So the subject of choice for my sketching changed somewhat from the original. I was initially going to draw one of my old OCs, but it just wasn't going very well, and I ended up drawing Zidane Tribal from Final Fantasy IX instead. So yeah, I've actually got a little figure of him on my desk that is in this pose, so I just kind of referenced that as if I was staring right at it, so that's where the pose reference came from. And yeah, it is what it is, I guess. So before I go on too much into the drawing process, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update. Like I said in the beginning, I wasn't well when I started the channel, and I've been away for a little while because I got a little bit worse and then was able to get a cancellation date for the operation, so they brought that forward, which was brilliant. And I used my Winsor & Newton fine liner for this. And so yes, I am better now, so we're going to resume the weekly videos. It's been a bit of a recovery process up until now, but I am back. Unfortunately, I am not a big enough YouTuber to have one of those community tabs, so I couldn't update you all on here, so apologies for that, but it's as good a time as any, I guess, to plug my Instagram and Twitter accounts. So I updated on those, but obviously I couldn't point you over there unless I had the energy to make a video, which I didn't. But yes, wow, everything's changed since the last time I was online as well. So I'm now in lockdown, like the rest of the world probably, and it is what it is. I mean, we're kind of enjoying spending time, we are enjoying spending time together as a family, so that's been quite nice. Against everything else, I suppose, we've got to look for the happy times. And part of the reason why I decided to draw Zidane, other than the fact that there was a figure of him on my desk, is that I really enjoyed this game, and it was released 2001, I think. It might have even been a little bit earlier than then, but I was younger then. And I remember really enjoying it, and I was kind of carefree, and it just makes me think of a happier time, and I love the storyline for Final Fantasy IX as well. There was a lot of ands there, and. So yeah, Zidane, I drew Zidane to cheer myself up in these dark times, and I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to just get through it all and make sure that we're doing plenty of things that we enjoy. Because I miss my family, I miss being able to just pop round and hang out, but at least I've been able to get some time back at my desk, and I'm not in pain anymore, so I'm just kind of like, all of these good things are happening as well as all the bad stuff, so you just need to remember that there are good things as well. And what better way to do that than drawing a cheeky monkey boy? So yeah, I didn't want to put too much detail into the background because, like I said, I was just kind of getting back into the swing of being able to sit at my desk, and I wanted to break out my Copic pens for the first time in a while, and yeah, I didn't want to do too much of a detailed thing, so I decided to just kind of go with the inspiration again from the figure. He's on this little broken piece of land, it's rock. I don't know. I'll try and put a photograph in somewhere. So I thought, well, I'll go with that. I'll just draw like another cliff face behind him, and then I just got this idea of this big swooping sky for the rest of it. Just kind of keeping the details minimum, and getting on with it really, and making sure I drank plenty of tea whilst I'm at it. Because one of the things that they've released over here is drink lots of warm liquids. So. What a brilliant excuse to drink tea. And yes, I do drink my tea quite fast. So as ever, my process for using my markers is working from lights to darks. I don't know why, I just do it that way. So I did a base colour of this lighter blue to start with, and then I used 2 other blues to make the sky the colour that it ends up. It's a little bit streakier than I'd have liked. I do go over it a little bit later once it's dried, but I hadn't used my markers since the very first video I uploaded on this channel. I hadn't used my Copic markers, so yeah, I'm a little bit out of practice, but I just treated myself to another set of them, so you might see them a bit more on this channel. I hope you enjoy marker artwork. I'm trying to do better with my skies. I've decided lately. I've got my Pinterest board, which again I'll leave a link to if you like, which I call art references and inspiration. It's just kind of full of sky at the moment because, I don't know, maybe I'm spending too much time looking out the window and that's kind of all I can see. But yeah, I think that sky is so beautiful and dynamic, and I don't try and capture that enough, so I'm going to try and do a bit more funky skies. I think when I did my Draw This Again, I changed the sky in that to something a bit more funky as well. That was with my pro markers though. But yeah, same difference, funky skies. I did just a small bit of shading to the clouds. And then we got here. And I wasn't sure where to go next. But I think I eventually decided on, yeah, the greenery. So for this, I just kind of dotted my pen around a bit, tried to give it a little bit of texture. Again, I didn't want to draw too much attention to it, so I didn't want to put too much information in the piece. There we go. Because it was in the background and I wanted it to be very much in the background. Obviously Zidane is the focal point, and I left him till last to colour in because that's just how I roll. I think it's because for years I never used to do backgrounds, so when I started doing them I always coloured them in first because I'd be worried that I would mess it up, and I've just still got that mentality to this day. Oh, this marker is dying, like it is dying a death. I use it's warm grey 3 and I use it so much that yeah, it has, as you can see, the nib is like screaming out for help. I'm trying to order some various inks, but I struggle to find somewhere that ships them in the UK. So I was having a look on Amazon and I was just having no joy. But perhaps I'll have a look on eBay or something. Unless you guys know anywhere where I can get them in the UK, then please feel free to leave links below. I don't want to just buy a new pen, you know. I know I can get refills. So after doing the background cliff edge face, I started working on the one that Zidane's perched on. And the beauty of this was that it's kind of already broken down into smaller shapes, because that's kind of my process when I'm drawing rocks. I like drawing rocks and trees a lot. So yeah, I like the countryside more than the city, I guess. But yeah, so my process for it is like breaking it down into shapes, and then it's easier to colour, and then kind of break those shapes down into form when I'm shading it. Somebody asked me to tell them how I did it, and I couldn't. It's weird. I just kind of, I see the 3D shape when I'm drawing it, and then I render it afterwards. And I know that's not terribly helpful, but that is just how I work. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of thinking about the shapes that I've drawn and thinking, well, okay, there'd be a bit that would jut out there, so I'll shade just under it. I found this really relaxing to do. Like I say, I haven't picked up my markers, my Copic markers at least anyway, since August last year, I think it was. And it was really nice. I could just kind of ignore everything else, shut out the media, the news, everything else that's going on, and just concentrate on filling shapes with colour. And I really enjoyed it, and I really needed it. So I was really pleased I was able to sit down. I did this over 3 days because I couldn't sit for long enough. It was just, you know, a bit of pain left over from the op, I guess. But so yeah, this wasn't done in one sitting, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. Like I did the sky, and that was one of my sittings, and I walked away, and then I did the rest of the background, and I walked away, and then I think it was the final day I sat down and I did Zidane. So you're looking at 3 days, but I think in total it was only about 3 hours work. So yeah. This is the final day now. We're finally going to touch Zidane. And I always start with the skin. I don't know why. I just always do. And I have since... I even do it digitally. I always start with the skin. And it's weird because I watched a Drawing with Waffles video today, actually. And she said the same thing. She was drawing one of her princesses and she was like, I'll colour the skin first. I don't know why I do it. And I was like, I do that too. So let me know in the comments, if you draw people, do you always colour the skin first? Is that just what everybody does? And why do we do it? There's probably some sort of psychological reason, isn't there? I usually always leave the hair until last as well. Which was weird when I used to try and do digital painting, because I'd kind of render all the skin first and then there'd just be like these shapes missing out of the head because I wouldn't do an outline. I think it was around this point that I realised that my little figurine that I'd got up on the shelf above me wasn't really the best reference picture. So I grabbed my art book. Like I said, I love this game. And found the picture of Zidane just so I could get a reference for his vest, because I have a bunch of little Zidane figures on my shelf and they all have different coloured vests. But the one that's actually in the art book is kind of more of a greeny blue, and I didn't have a marker that colour. So I had to overlay green and blue to get the right colour. And I find that working with markers, picking the colours is the hardest thing. So one of the things I have finally got round to this weekend is swatching my Copic markers. Oh, I've had them for so many years and I always go on and on about swatching your art supplies, and I have never swatched my art supplies. So what I usually do when I'm doing a marker piece is spend about 10 minutes per colour going through my markers, picking off the lid, scratching on a bit of scrap paper to the side and trying to figure out if it's the right colour I want. Wasted time, and I should have just swatched it, but I was like, oh, I really don't want to. But I finally found like the one of the unofficial Copic swatch sheets, printed it off and swatched all of my markers. And now I have a beautiful rainbow just sat on my desk, and I wish I'd have done it sooner because it's going to be so much easier to pick colours now. So I can just look and go, oh yeah, I like the look of B12. This will be perfect. So yes, swatch your art supplies. Don't be like me. My process for the most of this illustration is probably about 2 to 3 shading layers per item of clothing or skin or whatever, unless it's background, in which case I think I stuck to just the 2. Just gives the right amount of depth I'm looking for. I've never really been one to push hard shadows with my markers. I remember trying that on my previous marker piece, which was again that one I did with my pro markers, but I've never been able to successfully do it. Whether I just don't go dark enough with the shadows, I don't know, but yeah, I just prefer the kind of softer look, I think. And it was nice to draw Zidane again. Like I said, I drew him years and years ago, and I might be able to find some old art and just throw that up here. But he always had like bright yellow hair because that was the marker colour I had. But as I was looking again at the reference picture and my figurines, his hair's actually not as yellow as I recalled. So this colour was pretty spot on. It looks quite close to the skin tone now I'm looking at it on camera, but in the flesh it's closer to his hair colour, and I was really pleased with that. And finally my white gel pen, just to bring some life to those eyes. Give it a quick sign. And I wanted to check out the paper, really. This paper, I think I paid £10 for 125 sheets, and it reminds me a lot of the Express-It blending paper, so it is a lot cheaper, and that part up there was completely saturated and it hasn't bled through. Like, there's a bit of ghosting, but overall I'm really pleased with how that's come out. So yeah, here he is, ready to pounce or something. I really enjoyed working on this. I was going to pull out some pencil crayons to deepen it a little bit, but I just like the look of markers. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching me on this journey, and yeah, apologies that I've been away so long. I miss my markers. And of course, I still love Zidane, even now. And that's it really. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below what you're doing to keep yourself happy, whether it's drawing your favourite character or whatever it is you want to do. And if you want to stick around and subscribe to my channel, then I will love you forever. And don't forget to turn the notifications on so you can see when I post. But that's it for me for now. Stay safe, everyone. And draw your favourite character. Oh, and grab a pen with Cowgirl M. Bye for now.